Okay, we're about to jump into something pretty cool. We're going to explore this wild idea that the very same logic that makes our computers and smartphones work is actually a mirror of how our own minds operate. Let's see just how deep this rabbit hole goes.
So you've probably heard this question a million times, right? Do computers think? It's the go-to opener for any chat about AI. But what if that's not even the most interesting question? What if we're looking at this whole thing completely backward? Because the real question, the one we're digging into today, is this. Do you think like a computer? It sounds kind of strange, but when you really break it down, the basic rules that run a machine's brain are shockingly similar to the ones you use all day, every day, probably without even noticing.
I mean, just look at this. On one side, you have a totally normal human thought. If I'm tired, I'm going to make some coffee. Simple. On the other side, you have a machine rule. If a switch is flipped, the light turns on. See it? It's the exact same logic. If this happens, then that happens. This simple little rule, folks, is the foundation for, well, everything we're about to talk about. Okay, so let's really dive into that first piece of the puzzle, the logic of choice. We're going to get to know this if this, then that idea a lot better. It's the secret sauce behind every decision, both for you and for a machine. And listen, this isn't just some cold robotic concept. It's incredibly human. Think about it. If I try, then I grow. If I rest, then I heal. We build our entire lives on these little logical promises to ourselves. It's the invisible script we follow every single day. So, what's the official term for this? It's called a conditional. And really, all it is a rule. It just asks a question. Is this thing true? If the answer is yes, you go down one path. If it's no, you go down another. That simple fork in the road, that right there is the absolute, literal beating heart of every algorithm in existence. No exaggeration.
And this is where it gets really cool. Check out how perfectly this maps onto our own thinking. On the left, your brain just does it. If it's warm, I'll wear light clothes, otherwise I'll grab a jacket. On the right, you see the Python code. It's the exact same logic. The only difference is that the computer needs every single step spelled out with zero room for error.
But here's the kicker. This is the big difference. A computer has to obey its logic. It has no choice. But you get to choose your logic. You can add nuance, you can add intention, you can even decide to break the rule entirely. That's a superpower the machine just doesn't have. All right, so we've covered choices. Let's move on to the next major building block, the rhythm of learning. And this is all about how both we and machines get better at things, and spoiler alert, it all comes down to repetition. You know, computers are just extraordinary at one thing in particular, doing the same thing over and over and over again without ever getting tired or distracted. In the coding world, we call this a loop, and it's basically the machine's version of practice.
And there are really just two main flavors of these loops. You've got your for loop, which is for when you know exactly how many times you need to do something, like stir this mix exactly 10 times. Then you have the while loop. That's for when you're not sure how long it'll take. It's more like keep stirring while the mix is lumpy.
And this is a perfect way to visualize it. This is basically a for loop for humans. Imagine setting an intention to tell yourself, progress, not perfection, 3 times. A computer just runs the loop. For us, it's like building a new habit, right? You're intentionally repeating a thought to build a new mental pathway. So when you look at it like that, loops suddenly don't feel so mechanical, do they? They're almost meditative. Each time through the loop is a chance to get a little bit better, to get closer to mastery. It's exactly how we learn to play the guitar or speak a new language, one focused repetition at a time. Okay, so we have choices, our if-thens, and we have repetition, our loops. So what happens when you put them together? You get our next big idea, the wisdom of patterns. This is where it all leads, to the art of prediction.
So what's a pattern? Well, it's really just anything that repeats in a way that gives you a hint about what's coming next. And recognizing patterns, that's the core of what we call intelligence. It doesn't matter if it's your brain guessing the next note in a song or an AI finishing your sentence. At the heart of it, you're both just spotting a pattern.
And this is pretty much the entire game for modern AI. Your spam filter doesn't know what a free vacation is. It just knows those words show up together in a pattern associated with junk mail. ChatGPT, it doesn't understand the story it's writing. It's just making incredibly sophisticated guesses about which word is most likely to come next based on patterns from a gazillion texts it's read. And this is the key. AI is a phenomenal pattern matcher, but it has zero understanding of the why behind the pattern.
And that right there, that leads us to the biggest difference between us and them. Machines find patterns and they repeat them. That's what they do. But we humans, we can evolve from patterns. We can recognize a pattern in our own behavior and decide, you know what, this isn't working for me anymore. A machine processes data. We process meaning. So let's tie all this together. If our minds are built on these same principles, on choices, on loops, on patterns, then what does that make you? It makes you the programmer. You are the one writing the code for your own mind.
Seriously, just think about how your brain works for a second. It's running the same simple algorithm constantly. You see, hear, and feel things. That's the input. Your brain then churns on that, comparing it to everything you've ever learned. That's the process. And finally, you make a choice and do something. That's the output. Input, process, output. All day, every day.
So when you think about it that way, every little habit you have, every knee-jerk reaction, it's just a piece of code. It's a program that you, at some point in your life, wrote for a very good reason. Maybe to protect yourself, to fit in, or just to get through the day.
And this, right here, is the most powerful idea of all. You're not just the program, stuck running the same old scripts on autopilot forever. You are also the programmer. You have the power to open up your own source code, find the parts that are buggy or outdated, and consciously decide to write something new.
So I'm going to leave you with this thought. Knowing all this, knowing that you hold the keys, what's one mental loop in your own life, one automatic thought, one habit that you are ready to start rewriting?